who's ever listened to someone, like someone's told you an issue that they've got and you've given them advice and they didn't act on your advice? Okay. How come? How come they didn't act on your advice? So, in order to give advice, what have we firstly got to be able to do? Yeah, we actually got to understand. Okay, so in some respects, that empathic style of listening, creates understanding. And not just from our perspective, but when you listen empathically to someone, how do they feel like you? Yeah, exactly. So they actually think that you understand better what's going on. If you wanted to put it this way, you get content plus the emotion of what was said. So what do we mean by that? Content plus emotion. Yeah, they can say the same thing, but if their emotion says something else, it's once again an example of a mixed message. Someone can tell you about their weekend, but if you listen empathically, not only do you know what they did, but you know how they felt about what they did. There's just so much meaning out of the emotion that someone's actually experiencing. Okay, so that's the highest level of listening. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Even to actively listen to someone. It means that the key thing you need to be able to do in your own head is what? Well, it's tuning in to the nth degree. But what do you have to turn down in your own head? You've got to turn your own noise down. So some people suggest that what you really listen to is what you say to yourself. It's like I'm talking to you now, but you might be hearing me, but you're probably listening to something else. And at that point, is it more likely that you could go to potentially asking to get what? More info? And then go from asking to maybe advice. Okay? To create a solution. But only if you do what first? Okay, yeah. And between this one and this one, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but in counselling and psychology, what they ask for is permission. What's permission? Well, it leads to acceptance. It leads to the person that you're potentially... Yeah, it leads to the person that you're about to give advice to actually accepting. But you actually got to ask for permission. We go back to that original scenario. Like someone can tell you all of the issues that they've got, and it may seem as though they're coming to you to walk away with a solution, but really all they wanted to do was talk about all of the issues that they got. They actually don't want a solution at all. So how would you know if they did? You've got to ask them. You actually got to say, okay, so if you're empathic, I understand where you're coming from. I see that this is a real challenge for you. Tell me more about X, Y, Z. So they do. And you feel like you want to give them some advice, so what should you say?
Do you know what I think?
Yeah. Do you want to know what I think? And what do they say? No, look, I just wanted to, I don't want to deal with it right now. I just wanted to sort of,
Get it off your chest.
yeah. So you basically got to ask for permission. And unless you have permission, you're not actually able to help. And so this is the thing about being a coach. Permission is thought to be, or should be what? Well, it should be implied, right? If you're the coach, what's your job? Well, to help. To create solutions, to help your players. And so to a large degree, being a coach is like being a teacher. Permission is implied.